Hi guys, welcome back to From PSD to HTML5. My name is Dan Wellman, and in this lesson we're going to look at how we can free ourselves from repetitive tasks using Photoshop's built-in script capabilities. If you're a pure developer like me and not a designer-developer hybrid, getting started with Photoshop can be a little daunting because it's such a big and powerful application. Sometimes it can be hard to find out where the simplest tools are just because there are so many of them. So you should be relieved to hear that Photoshop supports scripting. That's right, we can extend Photoshop ourselves using our good friend JavaScript. There are tons of custom scripts out there which other people have already taken the time to write, and installing them in Photoshop is really easy, so there's no reason not to make use of them to speed up our workflow. One such script is incredibly useful when working with images intended to be displayed on Retina screens. As you probably know already, these images need to be twice the size of their regular screen counterparts. So what we would normally find is that we've got a bunch of images sized for Retina display, and then we have to manually resize them all to half their size for regular screens. This script takes care of that repetition for us and generally speeds up the process. So it can be found as a gist, and let's just go and hunt for that. So we'll say, we'll search for Photoshop Retina script. This is the one. Okay, we can just then grab the, what we need to do is just copy the entire thing, and then what we need to do is paste it into the Adobe scripting program. And that gets installed along with Photoshop, and that's the Extend Script Toolkit. So once the Extend Script Toolkit has loaded, we can create a new JavaScript file, and we'll paste in the contents of the gist there. And if we save that, we can see that the format is JSX. We need to save it in a different place than the default place here because it's a script. So we go into presets, and then into scripts, and this is where all of the scripts reside. And I've already saved the copy, obviously, so that's this one. So Process Retina, we've called it. And now let's go into Photoshop. We've already got Photoshop open. We should find now that we can go into the File menu, into Scripts, and the Process Retina script is there. So before we can actually use that, the script works in quite a particular way. So as we can see from this comment at the top here, the script finds all of the images in a folder with this suffix and shrinks them by 50%. So let's just prepare a folder which contains some of those images. So we'll just stick the thumbnails in there this time. So we'll call this folder Retina, and we'll paste in the thumbnails, and we just need to add the suffix dash HD, because that's what the script is expecting. So we'll just add that to each of these. Okay, so let's go back to Photoshop now, and let's run our script. And this gives us a dialog box here. So the first thing we need to do is to select the folder where the images reside, and it's in our templates, IMGs, Retina folder, and then we just click Process. And Photoshop kind of does a few things. As you can see, it's opening each of the images and resizing them. And if we go back to the folder now, we find that we've got our original HD versions, which are the original size. And then for each one, we've got one that's half the size. So running that script is much quicker than if we had to manually open all those ourselves and resize them. Obviously, there's only 6 thumbnails there, but if this was a proper website and we had, I don't know, 600, that would obviously be a massively laborious and time-consuming task to do that manually. So that script could have just potentially saved us, hours of work there. And let's just go back and just take a brief look at the script as well. As we can see, there's nothing insane going on here at all. It's just JavaScript. It's just regular JavaScript. So the dialog box itself is created just from this string here, and we can see that each of the controls in the dialog box has, you know, a size and some text assigned to it maybe, and some properties. So if we wanted to extend the script so that, I don't know, maybe as well as generating retina and non-retina images, we could extend it so that we could also use it to create thumbnails as well. Like in our media list, if the thumbnails were a quarter of the size of the original images, then we could just update the script so that as well as outputting in the non-retina versions, it would also output some thumbnails for us as well. And it would probably be really easy to do that. We just need to, you know, add some more controls to this section here, just so that we could select or enter the thumbnail size maybe. And if we look down at the rest of the script, you know, it's all just regular JavaScript. We've got a couple of event handlers here, some on clicks for the different buttons in the dialog. And then we've just got, you know, regular JavaScript functions. There's if statements and for loops and vars. It's all just regular JavaScript. So the only thing that separates this out from the JavaScript that we're used to writing is that we're using Photoshop's API to do cool things like save files and open files and stuff like that. Stuff that JavaScript wouldn't normally have the permission to do, but because we're running it within the context of Photoshop and not a browser, you know, suddenly we have access to do all these really cool things. And in terms of scripts, I mean, this is pretty simple, really. For what it does, it's quite straightforward. So all we'd really need is, you know, a reference to Photoshop's API, and we could then do whatever we wanted. So what I'd advise you to do now is just to go through some of the other scripts that are available within Photoshop and just open them up in the script toolkit here and just look through them and see, you know, all the kind of cool stuff that we can do. And there's a couple of little helpful things here. So we've got a JavaScript console if there are errors, and we can, you know, we can add breakpoints and look at the call stack and stuff. So all of the cool kind of debugging things that we expect, you know, from the Chrome developer tools, you know, we can do all that kind of stuff in here as well. So in this part, we looked at Photoshop's built-in scripting capabilities. We saw where we need to place scripts so that they can be accessed from within Photoshop. And we looked at an example script to see how easy they are to write. Scripting is a powerful feature of Photoshop, and we can use it to make our lives easier. So it's definitely worth spending some time learning how to work with Photoshop's API programmatically. In the next and final lesson, we'll look at a small assortment of tips and tricks for using Photoshop from a developer's perspective. Thanks for watching.